I'm Werthmann. I was born in Austria and I lived 7 years under Hitler's brutal regime, and after World War II, 3 years under Soviet communist occupation. I came to the United States in 1950 and I became proudly a naturalized American citizen. I take you back a step into history. In 1938, in Austria, we had a very deep depression. We had 1/3 of our workforce unemployed. We had 25% inflation, and if you borrowed money from the bank, you paid 25% interest. Business people and farmers were declaring bankruptcy every day. We had massive demonstration in our big cities. There were two political parties fighting each other. On one side, Hitler's National Socialist Party. On the other side, the Communist Party, which were getting very, very strong by promising everything to the people. And Hitler ruled in Germany since 1933, and in Germany they had no unemployment, had a high living standard, people were very happy, everybody were driving their little Volkswagen, the little Beetlebug, and they had no chaos like we had. We had nearly anarchy in our big cities. And our police force were almost helpless. So we pleaded to our government to have a plebiscite, an election. Hence, we elected Hitler by 98% of the vote. Now, Hitler was a very clever politician. He talked like an American politician. How could a country almost 100% Catholic to elect a monster like Hitler? Only he did not look like a monster at that time yet. He promised us everything. He said within 2 to 3 weeks everybody would be employed. He would help especially the families who were in such poverty that I remember that my mother had a kettle of soup on her stove every day, and we baked bread because about 30 people would come knocking on the door just for a slice of bread and a bowl of soup. They wanted to work, but there was no work available anywhere. This all changed very quickly. Hitler immediately sought public work service. Also, we got a new government. Nobody was elected anymore. Everybody was appointed up from the city commission, school board, county board, and legislators and governors. He consolidated our 7 states into 4 states because he said it was easier to govern in 4 states instead of 7. Consolidation is a very, very important component for socialism, centralization. I discovered that as a lobbyist in South Dakota. I think 3 times we had a bill that they wanted to merge our 66 counties into 15. I defeated it every time. So what Hitler did, the first thing he did, he gave us free radios. And then he nationalized our radio stations. So the only news we could get was what the government wanted us to know. Also, the print media was being censored before it hit the street. Next thing what he did, he looted the Jewish banks. He took their money And then he nationalized our banking system. The next thing, he nationalized education. And this literally happened overnight. I went to public school. I was in 6th grade. We had prayer in public school before we started our class and after the class. And we had our priest speaking on religion to us twice a week. That morning, after the election, I walked into my classroom, and the crucifix was gone, and there was Hitler's picture and the Nazi flag on each side. And our teacher announced that today we don't pray anymore. We sing Deutschland, Deutschland über alles, the national anthem. And on Sunday, she said you could not go to church anymore because it was National Youth Day. And in case our parents would not send us, because it was compulsory, they would be fined. The first time they would get a letter of warning. The second time they would be fined, a very heavy fine. And the third time they would be jailed. So we attended every Sunday morning at 8 o'clock the program. The first 2 hours were political education. Today I call it political indoctrination. They were telling us that we shouldn't listen to our parents anymore. They were old-fashioned, and they were taking away our freedom because actually we had rights, that we should not listen to our parents anymore. They were old-fashioned fogies, and we could be free to do whatever we wanted to, and our parents could not interfere. Oh, we just loved that. And the rest of the day we had sports. Oh, we got all the equipment free for everything. Tennis rackets, skis, and the boys at age 16, they got motorcycles to form a motorcycle squad. Not only that, they were taking out to the airfield to fly gliders. So at the end of the day, we would go home and gleefully said what a wonderful time we had. That much better than going to church on Sunday and listen to an old priest who sermonized. And we had so much fun, so much fun. My mother was not happy about that. So when the next school term began, she announced that she was taking me out of that horrible public school and she was going to enter me into a private school. I would have an excellent curriculum, but not much fun. Sure enough, as we arrived, I saw a huge wall, an 8-foot wall with an iron gate locked. And as I was bidding my mother goodbye, I almost hated her. I thought she was putting me in prison. But she said, you know, someday you will grow up and realize what I'm doing for you. Well,